Hey guys, Car Guy Pat here. This is going to be a build video for a small project I'm doing on the side. It is an SWR meter that I have for my CB radio. It basically goes in the line. I have this gray one that plugs into the back of the CB, and then it goes into the back of the SWR meter. And then the antenna wire, which is already plugged into the CB, goes into this antenna port. So it's just in line, doesn't take any extra power. And I figured I'd mount it right here, right above the CB. The CB has a stock SWR meter, but it's not that great for tuning and stuff. There's no calibration mark, or there is, but it's not that great. And this one does, and it works great. So I figured I'd mount it permanently, just so I can always see. But the problem is there's no lights on it. So at night, when you turn off all the lights, you can't see it. You can see the CB radio because it lights up, but this one has no lights. So in this episode, we're going to be installing LED lights and permanently mounting an SWR meter. So for this project, we're going to need a booster box, which can provide 12 volt power, positive wire, negative wire, heat shrink tubing, a lighter to shrink the tubing, an eyelet for the negative wire so we can ground it, some solder, a soldering iron, and we need this little diode. It's a red diode. It has 3 small individual diodes on one circuit board, and I took that out of this housing. If you peel these 2 metal prongs back, it'll just slide right out of the end here, and you get this. And I just bent them to the side. These are actually T5 bulbs for heater control lights that I will be installing in the next video, along with these red LED dashboard lights. But this is the diode we're going to be using, and I figured I'd install it somewhere inside this plastic housing of the SWR meter. So let's take it apart. So now that it's apart, you can see the plastic casing where I want to put the LED. It'll shine down onto the meter here, but I think I'm going to put it 1, possibly 2 bulbs right at the top there. Okay, I have determined that 1 bulb is more than bright enough, because these things are freaking bright. And it'll look the best if we put it right in the middle of the top there. And they're bright as hell, so let's start wiring. So we have our negative wire, and we're going to strip off just about a 1/2 inch. And for the positive lead, we're going to strip off about another 1/2 inch. Dropped, and we're gonna put another strip of heat shrink tubing on there. So now we're soldering the negative lead onto the LED. Beautiful. Now we're going to solder the positive side. I got it all soldered up. I'm not the best at soldering, but it should be good enough. The reason I didn't do the method of holding the soldering iron under the wire and then putting the solder onto the wire is because I didn't want to heat up this diode too much. I didn't want it to break. And I actually proved that point with this one. I tried doing that technique and it broke the solder off of the diode itself. So I had to just slowly drip the solder onto the wire. So it's not that pretty, but it should be good enough for just a single diode like this. So we're going to take this heat shrink tubing and slide it over the soldered area here. And then with our lighter, we're just going to barely touch the heat shrink tubing with the heat. Just barely touching it, because if we heat it up too much, it'll See, it's shrinking a little bit. I don't want to hit the diode, and I don't want to melt the tubing. So we're going to do this on the positive side here. Just barely touching it. So I got the LED super glued into the case. I super glued the wires to the case. You can see it's just above this clear part here. So it'll shine down into the meter itself. You can see the LED right here. You can see the 3 diodes, and they'll shine down into the meter section. And if I flip on my power supply here, it works. In person, there isn't a big glare spot. The light's evenly distributed. Here's the case all put together with the wires coming out of the back right here. If you turn on our power supply, the light goes on. And all we gotta do is put it in the car. So to keep the meter mounted above this center console, I threw some Velcro on the bottom. And I have a strip of Velcro that goes there, and it'll just stick right on top. We're going to take the Velcro, we're going to stick it on here, peel the film off, figure out just where we want it, about right here, and just stick it down, and that should hold pretty good. So the next thing we want to do is to start taking the dashboard apart so we can run the wires. Okay, so we got the dashboard part here. Okay, so I had to remove the meter because it was in the way, but it's okay because it's just Velcro. So we got the dashboard apart here. And this is the positive wire I'm going to splice into. It runs off the fuse for the radio. So whenever the radio is on, that means this light will be on, so it can be operated by the ignition switch. So we're just gonna strip this wire here. Okay, so we're gonna take the power lead for the LED, and I stripped off about a 1/2 inch of wire here. I'm just gonna splice it in. I'm just gonna put this eyelet on the negative lead here. Crimp it down. All I did was bolt it into this pre-existing ground I had under the dashboard. Now that we got it all wired up, all we have to do is install the gray coax cable. So we're going to pull the CB out. And out of the back, we're going to take out the antenna wire. Out of the back of the SWR meter, I have the black antenna wire running to the antenna, and then this gray extension wire runs to the inside here. So all I have to do is reconnect that to the radio. Here's the SWR meter installed. See, it's fully functioning when I cue the mic. And when I turn on the ignition, we have an LED so we can see it at night. So if you like this video, remember to like and subscribe, and follow me on Twitter if you want to stay up to date. And thanks for watching.